Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Today with Thunder Road Vendetta, a remake of the old game Thunder Road. In this game, you'll control a fleet of vehicles, trying to race to the finish while being the last fleet of vehicles standing, or rolling, as it were. As part of the setup for your game, you'll have your choice of colors from green, blue, and also orange and white. You'll take the 1B or 1A tile and use either side of it. You'll shuffle the remaining tiles, make a stack, and make the first tile the one leading from it, and then that tile underneath that, and the next one leading there. Any space that has a hazard symbol will be filled up, depending on the number of players for the style 1. So for this one specifically, the fewer the players, the more hazards there will be. After everyone's got their dashboard set up, they'll roll dice. The lowest total will start with the road die and will be the first player for the round. At the start of the round, the first player will roll the road die. That'll be the road bonus. Starting with other rounds, you will roll your dice to determine the new first player for the round. At the start of the game, you'll take the dice you initially rolled. So that would be blue going first. On your turn, you will take a die and assign it to one of your vehicles. You have the small, the medium, and the large vehicle. After assigning a die to a vehicle, you have the option to use a command. You can use one command per round. So if you decide you want to use it, you're going to use it now. And then you will move your vehicle. And then if there's anything in front of your vehicle, in your front arc, you have the option to shoot it. Except on the first round of the game. There's no shooting allowed on the first round of the game. So actually moving. You'll move the entire movement shown on your dice. So 1, 2. If your movement is entirely on the road from start to finish, and if you're starting from the back edge, you're basically you'll add in the road bonus anyway. So 1, 2, entirely on the road, you get the road bonus. Yeah, I know blue is supposed to go first, but this is easier to see, so this is where we're going at. So you'll have to take the entirety of the road bonus. But you can go off road with it. So you can dodge that hazard. Your command might affect how your movement ends up. A 1 to 3 is nitro. It gets an extra 1 to 3 movement based on the die you assigned there. Drift lets you ignore your first slam with a 3 to 5. Let's go ahead and cover slamming. Actually, I want to make sure I'm getting this in the right order. So let's cover actual spaces on the board. Road. It's gray. If you stick through it on your entire move, you get the road bonus to that many spaces. Off-road. No penalty to movement. No advantage either. I mean, it lets you dodge all these hazards. Dark and brown. Mud. It uses up 2 of your movement. You can enter it even if you only have 1 movement left. Hazards. The moment you go into a hazard, you flip it up, and some of them stay on the board. Others will happen and then get discarded. Like this adds a wreck. The double border spaces are impassable. If you get slam or skid into an impassable space, your vehicle is eliminated completely. There's no saving it. All right, so one of the commands was drift, which lets you ignore your first slam. How slams work? Whenever you move into the space of another vehicle, you lose all your remaining movement. You place, you'll have your vehicle on top of theirs. You'll roll this red die and this purple die. So the vehicle on the bottom moves that direction. If one vehicle is bigger than the other, the player who owns that vehicle has the option to reroll any of these dice. It's possible to slam something into something else and chain reaction and do just wild stuff. You can really mess with the board state with a massive cluster slam. Slamming someone else into a hazard will make them flip that hazard as well. So that wreck is stuck in the mud. Other commands, repair. So if you have damage on your vehicle, you have the chance to remove it. You can even remove it from a vehicle that's inoperable to make it operable again. And then finally, there's airstrike. Any die works. You deploy it as long as there's something in its front arc, it can shoot. So choppers can shoot, and vehicles can also shoot in their front arc. To shoot, you roll the die. The bigger the target, the easier it is to hit. So let's say the airstrike is going to target this guy. It's a large vehicle. No, it's a medium vehicle. I miss. But let's say you rolled the any or the medium, and we hit. The vehicle takes damage. Some results will cause that vehicle to move various directions, extreme directions, one random direction. It might not even do anything to it. Just put a big dent in the thing. And then there's shrapnel, which will send just a random piece of metal off in a random direction and hit the first person that's in the way. If you shoot at a wreck, one single damage is enough to remove it. You don't have to pull any tiles. The tiles will go onto the vehicle dash, and if it has to and it's flipped over, it cannot move. As long as it stays on the board, you have an opportunity to repair it. But if it's still on the board, when the back tile gets removed, it's eliminated. A vehicle can also be eliminated from, again, the impassable terrain, or getting slammed off of the board, or ending up underneath a helicopter. Yeah. Now, over the course of the game, you may end up losing vehicles. Probably will. So after you've assigned every available dice you could, you have the option. You can now coast. You can assign up to first. You have to have assigned all your operational dice, all your vehicles that are operational at least one die, and then you'll if you'll have the dice left over to coast. They can move one more space as normal. They do not get the road bonus for coasting though. Yeah, that's the general turn. The general turn. Assign a die. Activate command. Actually move your vehicle and shoot. Now, eventually, as vehicles are primarily going forward, you'll end up over on the far edge. And when that happens, it'll happen to the back tile is it'll get removed. Any hazards are taken off. Any vehicles that were stuck on this tile are permanently eliminated. And then we add the new tile. If you're playing with more than two players, you'll take that tile, you'll flip it over, and put it on the bottom of the stack. But not so with two players. Any hazard spaces will get covered up with hazards for players to discover. After this check, if only one player remains, because the other player was stuck on the back tile, that player's going to be remaining player wins. If there if one player is eliminated, but there's still more than one player left in the game, at any point, the end tile gets the finish line, and the first player to move across the finish line wins the game. The finish line will also come up if, in a two-player game, the fifth tile is placed. But that's basically how the game's going to go. You'll roll dice for the round. You'll do your moves. You'll mess with hazards and slamming your opponents and discovering hazards or lack thereof. You'll do extra movements. You'll deploy your helicopter for extra damage. You might even repair a vehicle just to keep them around longer. And just try to get to the finish or just outlive your opponents. What is it that I like about this game? It's just wild. It is wild, crazy action of vehicles and violence and guns and blowing things up. It's awesome. You know, I've said before that looking at this game and seeing how far back the original was, it's like it's pretty clear Mad Max left an impact on on the world. But most of all, it's not stupidly complicated. There's not cards to deal with. And these are pretty straightforward. Mud, mines, just damage. There's oil slicks too that send you off in a random direction. Area. It's just an interesting game every time, and the simplicity yet the strategy to it is is nice. Games like this where it's just kind of roll dice, but you can still decide what to do with those dice and make some creative adjustments and fix things. It's good. I enjoyed playing this game with the people who demonstrated it with me the first time. and I'm looking forward to playing it again. Thunder Road Vendetta. Check it out. It's an awesome game. And until I see you next time, this has been Pillar Nexus. We'll see you.